From the thong-wearing beaches of Miami, Florida, to the flannel-wearing ski bunnies of Whistler, BC, this is the Qualk Show with your host, Carol Rosher.
Welcome to the show and happy Saturday night, or as us parents like to call it, just another day living the dream. On today's show, we continue with our third edition of Hot Flashes, and we have a deep discussion regarding TTC and IVF struggles. We talk about the struggles and the triumphs with our special guest, Kirsch Brantz, aka Kirsch, of the Pride and Joy Project. And she's actually featured in next month's edition of O Magazine. And she's also the creator of one of the largest parenting queer chat channels on Facebook, which is Queer Mamas. So welcome to the show tonight, Kirsch.
Thanks for having me.
Along with the rest of your panel that everybody is slowly learning to love, we have Sin, we have Hallie, like the berry, we have Heidi, we have Summer, and of course we have Stephanie and myself, Carol. We're also going to discuss a little bit about what the heck our kids are saying. Whether you're out in public or around the dinner table, what are some of the funny things that we've heard our kids saying over the years? Or in my case, as my daughter is only 4 months old, I'm going to use some things that my niece and nephew have wondrously spoken to me over the years. Let's get started with our first edition of Hot Flashes. Jessica Biel states that when she dines out with her kids, that she is full of anxiety. My question to the panel is, do you get stressed out when you're out in public with your kids, wondering what they're going to say or do? Sin, let's start with you.
Well, both my kids are on the autism spectrum, so that's always a concern because they kind of tell it like it is. But I started when they were really young. We started eating dinner at the table together every single night if we could do it. And so they started learning the whole table manners thing and the whole restaurant thing. And so when I take them out to restaurants, they're always okay. Family gatherings are a bigger issue. I think they overshare what goes on at home sometimes. But I think that in restaurants, they're pretty good, and I think that has to do with, being used to sitting around a table, having good table manners, that sort of thing,
So what are they oversharing? Give us an example of what the hell is going on there.
On live? No, thank you.
Well, what are your kids sharing, Summer?
I don't have to worry about them oversharing at this point. Emmy is quiet, so I don't have to worry about that with her. Storm, on the other hand, is just her being loud at the restaurant. So we like to eat out. We don't do it as much anymore. I love delivery dudes and calling and picking up food because we can't do that. I'm just worried about what she's going to say later on because, like I told you guys, I'm stuck in 1995 and I'm a big Biggie Smalls fan. So, asking a girl what her interests are and who she be with, I think that's going to come pretty soon. So I gotta worry about that. But they're pretty cool. No issues.
I know when my daughter, she's 6 now, but when she was 3 or 4, so Storm's age, we definitely did a lot of Red Robin, we did a lot of Applebee's, the places that are already really loud, so if she decided to act a fool, I wasn't that embarrassed because there were the other children doing the same damn thing. But, even to this day, I'm like, okay, I think it's been a good day, so let's test it and go to the restaurant.
Yeah, she got me going to Cracker Barrel and Chick-fil-A, so I'm totally screwed up because I can be loud there, but I can't be gay there, so I don't know.
So you got to leave the wife in the car then.
I totally get why it's a big deal for Jessica Biel, though, like, because she's a celebrity, so people are going to be, like, advertising their opinions on social media, on entertainment TV. Like, we can go and somebody can be, like, snarky about it, and they might make a post about it, but she does it, and it's like TMZ, and look at this neglectful mom, and all that kind of stuff. So I get why it's a bigger deal for her. For myself personally, I don't get freaked out unless, like, my daughter's safety is at risk. I have a runner, so like a runner, like you wouldn't believe, like she's fast. So if I'm near water or a busy roadway, then yeah, know what, I'm going to be a little bit more anxious. But I've never fit in. Like I did not, never in my life. So I kind of stopped giving a fuck when I was like 12. So
there's like this added pressure though, right? Being a queer family, like we're the role models. Like if our kids are horrible, bratty kids, then you know, gay people shouldn't be raising children, right? I mean, like we have to
necessarily. Yeah.
I feel that pressure constantly.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm a little ballsy in that regard. I'm like, I dare you to say something about it. But that could be a defense mechanism from never having kind of quite fit in. Maybe I do more the fight than the flight piece. Yeah.
I don't know about you
but
guys.
I'm never overtly rude. Like I'm lucky. I'm very smiley and charismatic, so I can usually kind of joke my way out of it. And it's like, yeah, like, oh, those crazy women over there. I don't know.
So Stephanie, what about you?
We went to a chain restaurant last year, and I didn't know it was a chain. I thought it was like a single cell amoeba. And so we love it. We go there every Friday. We went with another queer couple, and they're probably watching, so they're going to laugh really hard when they hear this. So we're sitting in the back with our very loud 1-year-old kids, 2-year-olds, and the table next to us seemed to be overly annoyed, and I thought that they were upset because we were being a little bit loud, but how are you supposed to contain the kids? It was like 6 o'clock, time for bed. It was ugly. So I noticed that they got up and they walked away and went to the other side of the restaurant, and I was like, that's weird. So we're friendly with the manager. We've been there every Friday, and so I was like, oh, that's weird. We were so loud, we made them walk away, and he's like, oh, keep it down or whatever. So as I went to get up and leave, they threw me the eyebrow. And I went, oh. And so my other queer friend tends to look a little more masculine, and I noticed they were eyeing her up specifically. So as we were walking past, everyone at the table was dead silent, and they're all staring at us in this condescending way. And I was like, they moved because we were gay. I was so enraged because that very rarely happens on the outskirts of Philadelphia.
So now you're loud-ass kids, but that y'all were loud-ass gays.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You know the restaurant that Stephanie is a loud ass gay.
I mean, I'm a little bit loud, just a little bit. So I took to social media to just be like, you know, and it was all my straight people that came through for me, and they were like, what? So it's kind of a good thing because I'm glad that happened to me early on to be a little bit more receptive in how to handle it for my kids because I'm the example. So however I handle it to them is going to be the best. But
our community needs loud-ass gays. Don't stop doing it.
Yeah.
we need less on the streets too to advocate for us.
They might have been worried that you would, you know, sneeze on their food and the gay would be contagious for their family.
They can catch the gay very easily that way.
Yeah.
It is.
I love it.
That's how I got it.
Yeah. And then you gave it to a few people after that, Stephanie.
I mean, they were hot girls. It's not my fault.
Stephanie's just sneezing on everyone.
Is that all it takes?
Jessica Alba has some advice regarding mom guilt. She states that you should be present with your children wherever you are. My question to the panel is, how difficult or easy is it to stay connected and be present with your child in our electronically charged worlds nowadays?
It is extremely difficult because Summer, you're muted. I think I'm very much of a social media person. I love it. I love talking to people. I love it. I'm a butterfly. So I had to set, and because I only have my daughter 50% of the time, when she is at my house, my phone is put away. I have to make sure that I do that. Otherwise, it's a temptation to be like, oh, let me just, and then you're gone for hours. Just, oh, look at the funny cat video. And she thinks they're funny, and sometimes we'll do funny Snapchats together, but I have to make sure that I put it away. Otherwise, I am not present because I am addicted to a screen.
It's way too convenient and way too tempting, even for parents and for kids. And Toby and I, my wife and I, talk about it all the time. seeing kids at airports with tablets, and we're like, okay, airport versus dinner, totally different scenario. Because you know, at the airport, it's like you don't want them to run away, you don't want to get lost or anything. But at dinner tables, you really want to say, I really hope that we can kind of limit that. So we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah.
God bless you, and good luck to you guys when you get that chance, because you're going to fuck it up like the rest of us.
I spend entirely too much time on my phone, but what we try to do is my kids, they're teenagers, they want to be upstairs watching YouTube. They don't want to be, down with the family. So we make it a chance when my wife's home from work and we're all together as a family to make sure we eat together and have family dinners and watch movies together and do things, put the social media away, put the phones away, and just spend time. And I think you have to kind of manufacture that in this day and age. You have to make it happen. You have to schedule it, kind of like scheduling sex. You got to schedule family time. So.
Schedule the sex before the family time. Just kidding.
No, I think you need to schedule the sex before the family time, because if the relationship deteriorates, the family deteriorates. So I agree with you, Carol.
Yeah, wait, are we talking about during the day? Because I feel like sex before dinner would be awkward for the kids.
Well, they're at school, right? They go to school.
Like, hold on a moment, everyone.
Mom, I'm hungry. Mom.
Me too, babe. I'll be right back.
That's why you give them bagel bites. What's the point of bagel bites? I mean, come on now.
There will be no biting at the same time I'm biting.
Everybody likes cereal.
Pop-Tarts.
Now all those commercials from like terrible microwave food when I was a kid start to make sense, being like, you've got 8 minutes till that macaroni and cheese pops out of the oven, and then you see your parents like disappear. And you're like, it's almost done, and it's like, it's not done. Put it back.
I'm telling you guys, foreplay is overrated. Just get to it. It takes guys 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
There's no such thing as foreplay anymore. My girlfriend and I joke about it all the time. Like, we don't have time for foreplay.
Not true. We decided that doing dishes is foreplay. We decided
That's true.
That's true.
Dishes and laundry.
Hi, honey, chat.
I filled the bird feeder.
I got to tell you, Carol, I am such a proponent of not having devices, and it has gotten so bad recently that I like talk in social media. So I'll be like, Emmy, I need you to, and she's looking around like, are you going to say something to me? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I need you to, and I will completely forget in the middle of a conversation. And she'll just walk away like, what the hell is wrong with you? So I have like starts and stops. This lady that reports to me, I was like going through something with her and then looking at my phone at the same time. And she was like, what? What did you just say? I mean, I'm just totally distracted right now. I think between like even just doing the Qualk show and, Kirsch will talk about queer mamas at work. I mean, there's just so much going on that I am constantly distracted, like constantly. And I think that it's really hard to like get off the social media. I feel like I'm a crack addict with it. I don't know how you guys are, but I am failing at that miserably right now.
Agreed. I totally am, and I try to keep. My daughter's still young right now, but I'm definitely aware of it. Especially when my girlfriend points out to me that she doesn't want our daughter to feel important.
No.
I'm always on.
Yeah, Carol, I definitely understand. I was the same way. Yeah, I was the same way when Storm was younger. I've gotten worse as she's gotten older and more independent. So that's something that I have to really contend with. Stephanie, what about you?
I mean, I had a kid that was, she could identify letters at 1, and so she knew the entire alphabet by that point, and so she can count to 100. Like, she's pretty advanced as far as, like, trying to keep up with, like, the educational component of what a variety of different apps can do on the devices. So I am the parent that has the 4-year-old now as of Monday that has the iPhone. So, and I just don't give a shit what anybody thinks about it, because when we were sitting in restaurants, she's just constantly in your face, constantly asking questions, constantly wanting to interact. And with the games, she's a little bit of a savant when it comes to that, and so she craves that sort of intellectual connection. Now, with that being said, we have what's called pink doggy phone, and it is specific to the day. I'm not just sticking it in front of my kid's face every 5 seconds. But in thinking in terms of like survival with my wife, the only way that we can with a child that's overly needy in the attention department can even have a decent conversation and continue working on a relationship is to in some way entertain her. And she's not into Barbie. She's into like role play, like as far as like being a dog and being a cat, and sort of I can see her being in the acting field at some point.
Yeah, I love it.
But
I want to know what the people at home think.
My wife's a teacher, and so she does find teacher things to do with her, but she's constantly moving. So devices for us and our family, it makes a lot of sense because it allows her to kind of do the educational component of that until she gets to a curriculum that's going to focus on it. And so this week specifically, she started doing weird Savani things. So I think she's ready to sort of go into those like pre-K books, and that's what's going to replace that cell phone time or that pink doggy phone time in the middle of the day, and she's perfectly happy to do that. So I'm someone who thinks that technology is relevant and important, and that you should get your kids into it, especially if they're interested, and especially if it's engaging content, not just watching, some chick opening up some eggs. I mean, that chick has got 1 million views every 5 seconds. What is that?
Right?
It doesn't use any.
She used to be a porn star.
It is. Like, seriously. So
I want to know what the people at home think. Like, log into our chat line. Let us know on the Qualk Show page on Facebook. Email us at thequalkshow@gmail.com. Also, you can check out our website at thequalkshow.world. I want to know how you at home stay connected to your family, to your kids in the electronic age.
Well, let me ask Kirsch. Let's ask Kirsch. I mean, they're still in it trying to conceive, but you have a family with you and Toby. Are you guys online all the time, or do you make time for each other?
Well, yes is the answer. We live in like the tech hub of the universe, but I think that for us, it's like a lot of our business is online, and both of us work for ourselves. So we spend a really large amount of time on the screens ourselves, but we really do try to consciously be aware of that and be like, okay, it's been like 2 hours. I really need to take a walk. Like I need to turn it down, like shut it off and leave. But I mean, now with Queer Mamas, the first week of Queer Mamas, we were missing meals. Like the first 3 days, like we were so excited about it that I was like, hey babe, I'm like, what'd you eat? And she was like, I had a piece of toast 6 hours ago. And I'm like, oh my God. But like, I think it can be really like an incredible tool to connect people and communities. But sometimes you just got to turn it off and remember life is there, and friends and real friends are there, and the world, you can explore that.
Certainly. And I mean, it does definitely make the world smaller, and I like that about it, that even though I don't live in the same place as many of my friends and family, that due to technology, it does make it smaller. So, I like that, but definitely when you have to focus just on your personal family, it's got to go off. But that being said, I took pictures along my whole hike today, so I like the worst example of
she's speaking more to right now is about people, not so much the relevance of whether technology is useful for our kids and that there are apps and whatnot that are helpful to support a family, but rather that we're distracted by technology and not being 100% present with our kids. And this is something that I think is a real, almost epidemic, especially for those of us moms that love to multitask.
Yes.
Because technology has made it convenient enough for us to be doing 5 or 6 things at a time, and we're forgetting that there is a child right here that doesn't get any of what's going on up here. And as a result, also, because we're not being 100% fully present with our kids, this actually has a overall impact. It's something that's really an area of research that's really kind of boomed in the last 8-9 years about mindfulness, about being fully present, about really just stopping the thoughts that are going on and everything that's going around and just going, what do I see right now? What do I smell right now? What do I hear right now? Just what am I sensing in this moment? And if we can mindfully really engage in that behavior more often, this is going to dramatically help anxiety. It's going to dramatically help.
Amen.
It's wonderful. Yeah.
Yep.
Amen.
Yeah.
Preach. Preach.
No, I completely agree with you, Heidi. It actually reminds me of something that just happened today, and I couldn't make this up if I tried.
Yeah.
But at the risk of stereotyping lesbians and Canadians right now, on our drive to our hike, we saw two beavers.
Real beavers?
Two real beavers. I'm not sure if they were fucking or fighting, but they were doing something on the side of the road.
They were lesbian.
I tried to get my phone out quickly. I actually reversed on the highway to back up on film. And as I got it ready, they ran away, and Nicole just turned to me and said, "Honey, it's okay. We'll always have that memory." So, I mean, I get it. It's like, and you want everybody else to see what you're seeing or experience what you're experiencing.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, your kids are not having any of that, right? They're not even engaged in what you're doing.
But I'm worried because I was in New York yesterday for business, and I was with my coworker, and as we were crossing the street, we went for a stroll. It was amazing outside. There were so many people with their phones just like in their face, FaceTiming as they were walking through the streets of New York. And I was like, you're going to die. Like, I feel like I'm going to die by a cab without the phone in my face. And they were like 22-year-old kids, and I'm like, this is the same thing as texting and driving, isn't it? It's like, FaceTiming and jaywalking.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of spending quality time with your kids, Angie Harmon recently did a TV show or a project with her daughter, and she said that she was blissfully happy. I'm about whether I would have wanted to go to work with my parents, and I'm wondering, would you want to work with your child?
What, like every day?
I think that answers the question.
My job is entirely inappropriate for my daughter to accompany me to.
Get off that pole, Heidi.
Yeah,
exactly. She can't reach the stage. She can't count the loonies.
She can pick up the loonies. That's something she can do.
Yeah.
That's a Canadian thing too.
I work in mental health and addictions.
Yeah.
So it just would not be appropriate for a 2.5-year-old. She's just absorbing all of the world right now, the language and vocabulary that would expand in one day at my work. Would be not appropriate. But if we were doing something, like if I could finger paint for a living with my daughter, oh my gosh.
Damn, that sounds like an untapped market right there.
I think so.
Lesbian finger painting with toddlers.
It's called being a preschool teacher. That's what they do.
Your child
That's what I was thinking, Sin. That's a pre-kindergarten teacher, right? So it's not that far of a stretch. You could go do it.
I went to school for early childhood ed. I did that for a while, you go finger paint with the toddlers. It's fun.
Would you take any future children on a photography shoot with you, Kirsch?
Wait, what do you mean take anything from them? Like be inspired by kids? I mean.
Take any future children that you have. Would you want to take them on a photography shoot with you?
It depends. Since both are such small businesses, I might have to for childcare. And but I don't know. I mean, I think that if my kids show an interest in art, then yes, sure. If they want to learn about photography, then I would love to share that with them. There's one photographer, dad, I think, who photographs from National Geographic, and his son, who's like 8 or 9 years old, has his own contract with National Geographic as a photographer because this kid is crazy good. And so you see him all the time with like little film cameras and like a cowboy hat on. I think his name is Hawkeye Huey. And it's really cute. So I think if there's the interest there, absolutely, support that. But if it's not convenient, realistic, or you're losing money, then that's a choice you have to make,
Yeah, I have to say I'm under no illusion that my day job is harder than what my partner is doing at home with our daughter.
Oh yeah.
I am quite okay, as I think Stephanie is as well, at saying bye-bye, I'm going to work for the day. I'll see you in 8 hours. And I absolutely adore my family, but parenting is hard work, and my job is not as hard as my home time is in many ways.
Yeah.
What do you think, Steph? Do you agree?
My job is hard, but it is my break time. And when I walk in the door, I'm going back to my first job. And so everything is... Yeah, I need a break from children to go to bigger children. So.
And that's why I'm in the closet.
Yeah.
with your didgeridoo and your refrigerator.
and your nutcracker.
When you're an artist, you never leave that behind, even if you go corporate America.
No, you do what you gotta do what you gotta do for your space.
That's right.
Yeah.
Even if it is in the closet.
Let's move on to, one of the reasons that I personally wanted Kirsch on the show today is I know that she is going through the TTC and IVF process right now, along with all of her other projects and everything that she has to offer. And many of us have been through this process as well. And, there's so many trials, tribulations, and triumphs with this process. One of the biggest aspects about creating the queer family is that we cannot just do it out of our love. We can't just have a crazy night and have a family because of it. And that can be a plus and a minus depending on where you are in life at that time. But how do you stay positive during this process? How do
we stay positive?
Stay connected during the process? And are there any?
Yeah, so I think, Kirsch, what we want to get from you, because you're in the midst of this right now, you and Toby, is talk a little bit about the process you guys are taking and how do you two stay connected? How do you two stay supportive of each other as you go on this crazy journey to conceive?
Well, that's a really important question. I think for every same-sex couple that may be different. For us, for Toby,
I've already been through this process. Off to you, just.
Are you guys? Sorry. For Toby and I, that we spent the last 2 years trying to be as present and open with each other as we possibly can. So that means like communicating, being present, like checking in with each other. We do this thing where it's like, hey, like let's call a check-in, where we stop whatever we're doing, we make sure we're in the same physical space, and I say, okay, like tell me the things that you're feeling, the things that you're wanting, the things that you're needing, and then like that's the sort of way of bringing us back, being present. Like that kind of connects with the technology stuff too, like to get off the computer and connect with each other. And with insemination, you have to be present, and you have to be, really intimate and on the same page. Otherwise, I just don't. For us, it wouldn't feel right. It wouldn't feel good. It wouldn't feel like we were successful. So we've spent the last 2 years. The first year was using sperm through a sperm bank, and the past September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. I can't count. Since last September, we've been using a known donor who's a really great friend of ours. So that's a totally different story, but it's a really incredible way to connect with him, like in our friendship, but also to like have an ally in so many ways who's really helping us. Like he really wants us to help us create our family. So that's such an honor and such a thrill to have him in our life that way.
No, that's huge. And just a little bit of background. So Toby is the one who is trying to conceive, and you're the supportive partner. Yeah. You're on deck. And is it, if you don't mind us asking, is it the natural IUI, or talk a little bit about the process now that you're doing it with a friend?
Sure. Well, the first, it's all been natural IUI. We haven't done any hormones, and injections, any shots. We haven't done any IVF. We're both artists. My wife is a music teacher, a violin teacher, and an opera singer, and I'm a photographer. So our budget only stretches so far. But yeah, totally the most intervention we've had was our really sweet midwife who came over when we did some IUIs, where she would, use the catheter and the 10-inch tiny little, I was going to say cord, but it's like a little teeny tube that helps exactly where it needs to go. So we've worked with midwives, eaten flax seeds, ate lots and lots of supposedly fertile foods, have baby candles, we've staged our apartment. We've gone for walks on the beach. We've tried a lot of things, not everything. We're about to start doing acupuncture. So we'll see.
So does it sound familiar to anybody else in our panel?
I had a great deal of difficulty conceiving. I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. I was diagnosed when I was 13. My ovulation was so all over the map. I at one time actually went 3 years between periods.
Wow.
And my problem was that because I had the PCOS diagnosis, all the fertility experts were working on getting a strong ovulation, and we mastered that actually really early on in the process. What I really felt was it was just getting that fertilized egg to stick. That was like it was like I felt like there was like Teflon uterus or something like that, because I honestly felt as though I did actually get pregnant for like a day or so, and then I get my period and you're like, ah. So my partner and I, we went through so many ups and downs with this. We nearly broke up more than once just because the emotional toll that it takes every month, where you're paying thousands and thousands of dollars to get your period, is what it feels like. But I think what helped more than anything is when those moments when we were both just really committed. We are going to do this. I believe it's going to happen. Realizing that there's going to be moments I felt that my body was broken. There were moments when I just loathed I just loathed who I was, like physically, my body. Like, how dare I have this desire so badly to have a child of my own and have a body that just refuses to cooperate.
Yeah.
I did find I tried acupuncture and yoga and supplements and like every possible alternative, and all tens and tens and tens of $1,000s of medical interventions. What I honestly believe worked for me, take this or leave this, it worked for me, so I'm going to tell you what happened. I was at a wellness fair at a woman who was talking about how she had a 100% success rate working with infertile couples. I was like, really? 100%? Well, let me throw this at you. And so she came to me and she said, I have kind of an intuitive, a medically intuitive. Are you open to hearing what I'm getting from you? I said, yeah, I'm open to anything at this time. Like, she says, your body is too acidic. You need to flush your body. You need to drink 3 liters of alkaline water every day and consume a completely alkaline diet for the 2 to 3 weeks before insemination. Make sure that if you're doing any kind of insemination, your rump is lifted. It seems so trite and so little, but it makes a difference. After insemination, this is if you're doing IUI. Of course, there's a different process with IVF, but if you're doing IUI, wait 10 to 15 minutes and make sure you get a clitorally stimulated orgasm. Wait 10 to 15 minutes first. You got to wait for kind of things to get settled. Then a clitorally stimulated orgasm will actually contract your entire lady parts to suck all that back in there. Honestly, what I swear to God made a world of difference, and I apologize because I too am a little bit skeptical of kind of creams and lotions and essential oils, but I swear this has worked. It has helped me and 3 other lesbian couples I know conceive within two tries. So 4 of us. It's a cream that you put on the inside of your wrist. It's called Prenolone. Preneelone. It's from Young Living, which is an essential oils, but don't shut that down because it's like on the craze with essential oils right now. I swear to you it works. I swear what it does is it's like it makes your uterus go, hey, I'll take that little embryo. Like it makes your uterus sticky or something. Because I swear the moment I use it, I got pregnant. And it was 3 years of regular trying and miscarriages and 10 years of trying in a natural insemination heterosexual relationship before that. So I'm passing that on to you as what has worked for me. I know when you have a trouble conceiving, the last thing you want to hear is somebody's like real success story because you're like, bitch. Like, I tried everything.
but we're not endorsing anything. That was what worked for you. And
that is what worked specifically for me. I am not sponsored by anyone.
I think the important thing is, like you said, and Kirsch talked about it too, is making sure that the relationship is intact throughout the entire process and the checking in. So, however the journey eventually ends, that's the thing that's important.
Girls, that doesn't work for 2 girls on IVF, okay? We were both on estrogen injections, and we wanted to beat the shit out of each other every fucking day. Okay, every day. So
Yeah.
we were not in tune as much as you were like, you get in your corner, and you get in your corner. And then come retrieval day, we're like, oh God, thank God, it's over. So it's very different from both sides of the perspective for sure. Afterwards, you were like, oh, that was great and wonderful. We're back to braiding each other's hair, but
Yeah,
girls going on injections for IVF, not so good.
I'm sure that when you add like extra hormones on top of it, that it changes the entire game. Because
It makes you a fucking crazy person.
yeah.
Yeah. I think this is actually a really good spot to insert our first ever edition of Shit That Sucks with Sin. Sin, you've been a little quiet today. I know you've been waiting for your time to let us know what to do and what not to do when we're talking about this process.
Well, right. I mean, one thing, it's really difficult, right? I mean, everybody remembers from sex ed class way back when, right? In order to make a child happen, you need the sperm and you need the egg, right? When you're a same-sex couple, you've got too much of one and nothing of the other, right? So for me, personally, my experience, my wife and I were both biologically female. We both are women. We don't have sperm. And sperm costs a lot of money.
Oh, what do you got there?
A lot of money. The sperm costs a lot of money, yes. And
Props, props.
Right, so the problem is that not everybody has that money, or maybe we want to use that money for our kid's college fund instead of to create the kid in the first place. We want to have money left over to raise the kid with. Another thing that sucks is insurance companies don't always cover this, right? Our insurance company will not cover anything for trying to conceive or infertility for a same-sex couple. They won't do it. Maybe that'll change in the future, but they won't cover it. Because
it just depends upon your plan.
Yeah, it depends on your plan. Ours won't cover it. So when my wife and I were trying to conceive, we had to go the daring route that can have some legal issues of having a friend get a little cup and donate some products, right? But
Yummy.
what sucks about that is you really got to make sure you trust this person. You've got to make sure that this person is someone who's not going to want to come in and be involved more than you want them to be. It's a line you've got to draw very carefully. And let's just talk about a little bit of stereotypes here. Now, when you're inseminating at home, you don't use the little tube that Kirsch was talking about, right? There's other products you use, but what you do not use is what everybody jokes around about lesbians and turkey basters, okay? That doesn't happen. The turkey
Everybody can see it is actually ribbed for her pleasure.
Well, no, it's not, okay? It's just a turkey baster. These things are huge. Let me just open this up. These things are gigantic lengthwise, but they have no girth. But that's beside the point. But this bulb here is way too big for the amount of product you're going to get. You're going to end up injecting air up in there, and air up in there is not a good thing.
That's
Don't
a queef.
use a turkey baster.
That's a queef, baby.
Yeah.
That is a recipe for a queen.
That's an expensive queef.
That's an awkward queef.
You can cause an air embolism and kill your partner, so don't do it. No air up there. What we use is you get one of these little syringes. They're about this with no needle on them. They're the same size as a tampon, so they slide nice and easy up in there. And then you just kind of get that product, right? And you get it up in there, and it makes it a whole lot easier, right? Because it's nice and tiny.
Oh, man. What is that?
How does
Don't
it
you
smell,
want
Sin?
to know? So this is not expensive. No, this is a facsimile of what we would be using. This is egg white.
This is just as wrong as that cream that Heidi was talking about. This is going downhill real quick. I do not endorse, support, not sign on to this bullshit, for the record.
Inserting this and then a gentle squeeze. I've learned online from the Queer Mamas group, some moms saying squeezing too fast, it squirts back out. So squeeze nice and slow. You can also squeeze into one of these little, I'm not endorsing a brand, but these little soft cups that people use for menstruation. They sometimes use these for trying to conceive at home. And you take the little soft cup and you put the materials in there. Right? You get them in there.
Don't shoot.
And you insert that inside, and that's what my wife and I tried. We inserted that inside. Looks
delicious.
And then you can wear that up in there for an hour or so, and then remove it. Yeah, it sucks.
Sin, you have to put your butt in the air. That's what Heidi's saying. Butt in the air. You missed
My wife had to put her butt in the air, but taking it back out again, you might want to wear gloves because I don't want to cut it.
Those are industrial gloves.
Yeah.
Those are mechanic gloves.
Yeah.
Working on your car, didn't get your wife pregnant.
But it's a difficult process, right? It's hard, it's difficult, and it really sucks when you don't have the finances to have a doctor help you out and things like that. So that's just a little bit of my experience with trying to conceive at home.
I love it. Thank you so much for the first edition of Shit That Sucks with Sin.
That does suck. That does suck, Sin. Good job.
Good job. That sucks. Well, I don't know. Steph, you had a little bit of a different process. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so it's actually very clinical when you are considered advanced maternal age. So pretty much anyone over 35, they pretty much go, oh, guess what, your ovaries are dying or whatever it is. So we went and we wanted to figure out what our options are to begin with. And so we figured out through our insurance that they did, in fact, cover IVF, which is, for us, an anomaly. And most insurance companies, it's an anomaly. So we had the opportunity to both have our eggs retrieved and then implant one of each into my wife for both of our children. So it's sort of like the lesbian holy grail, if you will. And while there is an out-of-pocket expense, we were really lucky to only have a small copay for every doctor's visit. But with two people going at the same time, it took some really good planning and some interesting decision-making on our parts to kind of get through that process. But we figured that was allotted to us, and not everyone gets that opportunity, so we went full force into it, baby. And so for IVF, at our age, and I too, Heidi, high five, have PCOS. I wasn't entirely sure how the egg quality thing would work, so we went through, and this is a baby plug for Abington Reproductive in the suburbs of Philly, because they were incredible. So from a educational perspective, the overall healthcare perspective, we got in bed with that whole thing, and from both sides of the coin. And first time out, we were super successful, and we thought that was easy. What's everybody's problem, right? And so you have a little bit of, and we were all a little bit more to our younger 30s too. So, and then you deal with like frozen embryos where you have to pay storage on that, and then your extra vials of sperm, which you pay storage on that. And so after 2 years, it's usually what's, straight couples will be like, well, this is a good time to have a kid. I'm like, this shit's $100 a month. Let's step up on this stuff and get it out. Because I'd like to have $100 a month to go out with my friends.
Exactly.
You don't do that when you have kids, by the way.
I was going to say, who's going out with their friends anymore?
Going through the process again was a little more difficult for us because as you age over that, magical number every year, it changes, biologically. So, we got the hard lesson after 13 months of what it took to get pregnant, and this pregnancy, my daughter's 6 months old now, this was a rainbow pregnancy for us, so that was also an interesting experience. A rainbow pregnancy, if you don't know what that is when you lose a child and then you get pregnant immediately after. And so we had a few losses this time, and it sort of just made me go, oh, okay, so this is a taste of what most folks deal with. Although that little demonstration Sin just did, that was the first time I was ever exposed to that. I would absolutely not have children. I have 500 dogs. I would say that because I'm weird about breast milk. I would not do that with a semen at all. But it was an interesting adventure. To be realistic, it's really hard on your relationship to, continue, especially the second time when you have as many losses as we dealt with, and that whole emotional roller coaster. You get discouraged, and you deal with depression, and you deal with weight gain that you can't get rid of even after you have the kid because you don't have time to go work it off. And so there's like a whole roller coaster of emotions that come with it, physically and mentally. But in the end, perseverance, for us worked, and there was a moment we were going to give up, and it becomes trying overall. But thankfully, I'm in a really great, healthy relationship where we're able to battle it out and come to agreement, to agree to disagree, and all those beautiful things. But I've seen couples break up over it because it's so emotionally trying. And statistically speaking, you would think that it's mostly lesbian and gay couples and queer couples going through these sorts of things. The majority of the practice, at least what I encountered in the waiting room, were mostly straight couples as well. So there's an entire stigma where IVF is concerned in the heterosexual world. And in our particular community, it seems to be like, oh my God, if I had $200,000, I would do that. So it's an interesting mix to look around the room and watch the ups and downs, but it is a complete from the IVF perspective, it's a community. You touched on this last week, Carol, and I don't want to keep going on and dragging it, but you said, like, once you have a kid, you cross over, you're in this club, and it's sort of like you couldn't wait to get there, and then when you're in, you're like, oh my God, what am I doing here? I mean, I need a helmet, right?
Yeah.
But you're in the IVF world, and you deal with any sort of a loss, with any sort of fertility help, you're in a whole other like, it is a secret kind of a club, and you have a much higher appreciation for your children and the process and your partner and everything when you go through those sort of benchmarks. So I feel lucky to have the opportunity, but you know, for us, I'm glad we had it one shot wonder, and I had an ego about it, and then I'm glad that on the second time it took a little longer, because I think that I have even more appreciation for the second baby.
Sure.
Yeah, I've been on.
Holly, what's your take on it? And, you know, knowing that you have also been a surrogate mother, what are some of your experiences or tips or tricks?
Well, when I got pregnant with my daughter, I also am on the PCOS club, so I think that's all of us.
All of us.
Stop it! That's a staggering demographic.
I feel that it's also it's what doctors say that you have, because they can't figure out the rest. I mean, there are some markers, but it's kind of the lupus of the fertility world, if you will. If it's nothing else, it's lupus, because you can't say that you have lupus. There's no test. But thankfully my body responds to medication very well. I went through medication to get pregnant with my daughter. We did IUI in the clinic because my partner could not get me pregnant. Our insurance did cover portions of it. So that was definitely helpful. I did take on the first try, so I did feel extremely lucky. And I think it's just that my body takes to artificial chemicals very well. When I was a surrogate, I was on. I love
different subject.
Oh wait, no. Being a surrogate, I had to go on all the hormones for IVF, and again, my body took to it exactly like it was supposed to. We got pregnant with our twins. I'm actually matched with the second family right now, and our first try didn't work, and so we've been on a journey trying to find another egg donor, so hopefully that's going to be happening soon, and hopefully at the end of the summer I'll be pregnant again with somebody else's baby, not mine. I'm not ready for that.
Wow, that's amazing, Hallie. I mean, God bless you, because I don't know psychologically how you could do it. I know that it's there's a transaction and you're going to be giving to someone else, but that connection when something is growing inside of you, I don't think that I could separate myself from that. So it really takes.
I definitely have emotional separation issues. I'm really good at separating people from my life. But I also have very strong relationships with my families. The twins that I had, I talk to their dads every week. We talk about Grey's Anatomy and whatever. I went to see them for their first birthday, so they're very much like a niece and nephew to me. So they're not dead for my life. They're very much close. They're just not my responsibility, and I don't want twins, so that was happy for me.
You know, I think that we could, this is a subject that I know that we're planning on doing a series on at a later date, because you can't wrap up this whole discussion in a 20-minute time period. I mean, there's just too many stories. There's too many things to discuss. There's too many hopeful anecdotes and stories that we need to share with people, as well as information. And I know that Heidi's going to be doing some of that on the blog on our webpage at thequalkshow.world. So you can also check in there, and we'll try to provide some information on our Facebook page as well. I want to move on to something a little bit funnier to wrap up the show tonight, and that is talking about some of the things that kids are saying. Now, my daughter's only 4 months old, so I'm sure my time will come with her saying some ridiculous things, especially having me as a role model. But, I know my nephew, amazing little boy, and one day I'm over at his house, and he's kind of wincing in pain, and so I said, buddy, like, what's up? Are you okay? Did you hurt your head? Did you knock something? He says, no, I'm okay, Auntie. I just hurt my balls. And I was like, I just couldn't even. It's the funniest thing, because they have zero filter. It's one of the most amazing, and to wrap it into the beginning, scary in public things about kids is that they have absolutely zero filter. what are some of the funny things that you either heard or that your kids have said?
Oh, I have to say something. So my kids are from a previous relationship. My wife wasn't able to conceive when we did but when my kids first met my wife, they were young, and my son was staring at her and staring at her and staring at her when I finally brought her over to the house to meet them when we were dating. And finally she turned to him and said, "What are you staring at?" And he went, "You've got big boobs." What?
One of my wife's students has a younger brother, and I was standing in the house. So my wife teaches at her parents' house to use the space because they have a piano, an extra room, extra bathroom. It's very wonderful. And Breakwell is this little boy's name. He's, I think at the time was 3.5. And I walked in behind my mother-in-law, so my wife's mom, and he goes, "Toby, look, your dad's here." Meaning me. And I was like,
Toby, look, your dad's here.
And my wife was like, "No, that's my wife. That's Kirsch. You've met Kirsch before." And he was like, and then just like ran away.
Don't feel bad, Kirsch. When I used to do shows. I used to do live shows for kids at schools and malls and things as like Cyclone Cindy the Mad Scientist, and all the time kids would say, "Are you a boy scientist or a girl scientist?" Yeah. And I would always look them right in the face and say, "How about you? Are you a boy or are you a girl?" And they'd be like, "Don't you know?" And I'd be like, "Does it matter?" And I also sometimes just would not answer them and ask them if it really mattered and then just move on with the show. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, kids are they're so perceptive and they're so sweet. And I think that, like, with kids, we always talk about, like, what we'll tell our kids about, being two women that are married to each other. And if you tell kids early and if you tell them often, they'll get it. And that's just another part of life. So I think that it's hard sometimes for people because there's a fear associated with it because of a social stigma. But kids get a lot.
It's easier for the kids to get than it is for the grown-ups. Kids get, okay, there's two mommies, there's two daddies, there's a mommy, there's a daddy, you live with your grandma, you live with a foster family, great.
Yeah, I mean, and that's part of the work I'm trying to do, with Queer Mamas and with the Pride and Joy Project. Literally just to create more visible images of queer moms and their families that are our stories, our real stories. So we can get out of that whole like, oh, well, two mom families are just, Bet and Tina on the L Word. That's not the only one way. There's so many
model after that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but my kid, I keep what's called the Riley Dictionary. Can't really say it. But if I could just read a couple words and some definitions, because they are spectacular. The first one is minterpieing. She said it means to put it on your face.
Minterpine?
Minterpieing. Or flaggy, to hold my hair down.
Wow.
So she would say, "I need to flaggy this." I need flaggy. Or furling.
Flaggy this.
My hair up. She'd be like, "Can you furly?" What's a furly? So she says tinking, finger cockers is where you put your cupcakes, of course.
I thought of something else, but that's
right? I mean, I'm the dirty Aunt Stephanie, according to.
Hold on,
Stephanie, your finger copying the cupcake.
What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I got livid. Sling, fix, bagel, assassin, it goes on. So my child is in a whole other aspect. You just got to roll with her. She walks in public and she owns that building. She'll walk up to strangers and go, "Hey, lady, what are you doing?" Like, see her in your face, doesn't care. She's the best.
Storm is the same way. Storm is the exact same way. And she'll go up to somebody and she'll be like, "Hi," and they might not hear her. And she's like, "Hi," and then she'll come back to me and she's like, "They didn't say hi back." And I'm like, "Well, maybe they didn't hear you." So she'll go, excuse me, "Hi." It's the craziest thing. But I got to tell you, the one thing that got everybody like rolling is we use proper terminology in our house. So we don't say boo-boo and shit because we don't do that.
Yeah.
No. So people will hear her, like, if we're in Whole Foods or we're in Target or something, and she'll go, "Mommy or Mama, I have to urinate." And so people's minds are blown, right? Because this little 2-year-old going around telling people that she has to urinate. And I'm like, "Yes, she has to urinate." No, or the other thing is,
You make her work for it. Like you couldn't have said void or something. Like you gotta go.
It's so important. So the other thing is, if she needs help, she'll say, "Mommy, I need assistance."
Oh.
So we're on the phone the other day with my nephew, and he's like, "What 2-year-old says I need assistance?"
I love it.
Baby.
So Kendall, my wife, says, "Do you not know who one of her mothers are?" Of course she's gonna say, "I need assistance." She's not gonna say, "I need help," or "Come here, give me." I need assistance.
I love it. That's amazing.
When my daughter, we are separated moms. We both have partners now. I'm engaged. She's with a girlfriend of a long time. But when I first met her girlfriend, my ex-wife, her girlfriend, and my daughter were together, and we went to go meet up at a restaurant. And my daughter Casey, as soon as me and my fiance we were girlfriends at the time, as soon as we walk in the door of the restaurant, she turns around and she goes, "Mom, we're a girlfriend family. We're all girlfriends." Like really loud in the restaurant. I'm like, "You're right, bud. We are all girlfriends. We are a girlfriend family." She's like, "I knew it was going to be big. We're a girlfriend family." I was like, "Shut up."
Hallie, I love that. I love that. We're a girlfriend. That needs to be a hashtag. I think we should find out from the folks who are watching on the QualkShow.world or in chat. Send us an email. Hey, what are some of the craziest, cute things, or maybe darndest things your kids have said?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I love hearing these stories. I mean, like I said, just the unfiltered, natural exuberance of children is, what a lot of us kind of get out of having these younger children. And I just absolutely adore every moment listening and watching their little minds work.
Absolutely.
And then they say sometimes some really bad things.
Yeah. Well, there's the traditional fuck instead of truck and different things like that. That they
Oh no,
always
Riley
come
told
out.
Adrian to shut up today. She said flat out, "Shut up."
Oh, my daughter went outside when she was 3, and there were birds chirping in the tree. And she goes outside. And she goes, "The fucking birds!" And I was like, "You can't say that." She's like, "Mom, they're loud." And I was like, "You can't say that." I mean, props for saying it correctly, but you can't say that.
Heidi, really quick, what did you want to say?
My daughter is a little bit, she couldn't hear until just last summer, had some surgery. She can hear now, but as a result, her speech is a little bit delayed. So she's in the mispronunciation of things. So we do not teach my daughter to swear, but we will put things like protein smoothie shake mix in her milk or whatever, and she'll be like, she calls it shake. And so she was like, I want, but shake for her is shit. So it'll be like, "Can I have breakfast? Can I have shit for breakfast?" Or we'll be in like a restaurant and she's trying to tell me, "Mommy, I want eggs for breakfast." And it's like, "Mama, I want ass and cheese."
Who doesn't?
She wants eggs. She wants eggs, folks. She wants eggs and cheese.
I love her.
I want the ass, please. That's exactly what I'd like for breakfast. I want to thank the panel, as always. I want to thank our special guest, Betsy Kirshner, a.k.a. Kirsch. Again, the owner and founder of the Pride and Joy Project, as well as Queer Mamas on Facebook, which was my personal inspiration for getting involved with the Qualk Show initially. So thank you for that, Kirsch, again.
We're going to have her back, without a doubt.
Yeah.
You're going to have to come
100%.
back. You're going to have
100%.
to talk about the Pride and Joy Project, because I know that some kids have said the darndest things in those photo shoots, so you're going to have to come back and talk to us some more.
I got a lot more, don't worry. Yeah.
100%.
And check out the showcase, because we have the link for the Pride and Joy Project on the right side of the screen. So increase that girl's traffic. Her work is amazing. She's such a nerd for that worker.
Exactly. And it's all about visibility and getting out there and letting the world know that we're everywhere and we're just like everyone else. And, that's kind of, I think, the goal of both of our projects. Hallie, how can people get a hold of us?
All right, best ways to get a hold of us. First, make sure if you are watching this YouTube video, you need to go click the subscribe button. If it's red, that means you haven't subscribed. You need to click subscribe. That makes sure that you are a subscribing member, that you get notifications, because we do giveaways. We do funny little videos whenever we feel like it. So make sure that you're subscribed. Also, go to our Facebook page. You want to go to The Qualk Show. I know it's really confusing. Everything is The Qualk Show. Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter. We're all there. If you want to be on the show, if you have something to say, if you think we're horrible, awful people, please don't email us. But the other things, email us at thequalkshow@gmail.com.
I love it.
And make sure that you share this video, that you like it with a little thumbs up, and comment. We want to talk to you.
Exactly. We definitely want to talk to you. And make sure that you tune in next week. We're going to talk about what would you do if your child was gay? Would you start a conversation about it with them? Would you wait for them to come and approach the subject with you? What's the best ways of handling that in our kids? And we're also going to have a little fun conversation about a phenomenon in especially the lesbian community, which is staying friends with your ex. Why do we do this? And why does it continue? Summer's shaking her head, so you know she's not doing it.
Not in that one.
Hell no.
But you
Hell
know
no for
lots
next
of
week.
lesbos are doing it. And the rest of the queer spectrum, we would love for you to tune in on this craziness that you see us lesbians doing, staying friends with our exes. We're going to finish the show today, as we always do. If you want to lift your glasses, and everybody, this is to our kids, as per usual, may they be planned and potty trained. We'll see you next week, everybody.
I don't have a cup. My kids ran ragged. I don't even have a cup. So
We're all drinking coffee for everyone on
Here
this.
you go, Summer.
I'll drink a beer for you.
Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Betsy Kirshner, a.k.a. Kirsch. We'll see you next week, everybody.
Bye.